All right, right now in multifamily, there's no shortage of external pressure. You're looking at supply demand fundamentals. Rent in certain markets is free. There's rising insurance costs, all the operational costs, and then the uncertainty around debt, transactional volume, and really even how to move in and out of these deals, or maybe deal flow. Look, all of that is real, but what is also real is that your greatest risk today is not those external things. It's the execution risk. Now, execution risk will impact your NOI far more than a point on your debt. It's just the fact. We focus a lot on external things and transactional volume things, but the reality is this execution risk is very important to our business because execution is where strategy either turns into a performance or it all quietly starts to fall apart. And where most people miss this is execution risk is one of the few risks that actually you have control over. Now, execution doesn't fail randomly. It fails because of the decisions that people make inside that business for your business plan. Now, most leaders, and in fact, I will say the most consequential decisions that these leaders make are people decisions. That's why hiring matters so much right now. Now, if you already know that, look, I get it, but hiring is critical. This is for you if you understand that. If it's not, then somebody that's in charge of bringing great people in your organization needs to hear this video. Not because it's hard and it's difficult, but because great leaders make it repeatable. And here's the difference I see over and over. Satisfied employees inside organizations, they do their job. I mean, it's one thing to be satisfied, but engaged employees, they contribute more and more to the organization. That's not even required of them. They'll go and they'll put in that extra effort. And engagement, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when leaders do these three things exceptionally well. Number one, they attract and they select the right people. A lot of people think that they can attract people to run job ads and get lots of candidates, but they're not selecting the right people. Not just the capable people, but people who actually fit the work based on your business plan and the standards that you may have and the stage of the business you're in, right? It's one thing to have a great competency, but if they're in a startup and they're in an enterprise employee, you have a mismatch in the fit there. So the second thing is they get those people that they then select working effectively together. Clear expectations, real accountability, shared ownership. And then finally, this third piece is that they keep that team aligned to the customer, what that customer needs, how that customer behaves, what technology that customer uses. Because the teams that lose that connection to that customer, you start to see that performance slip, right? It always falls flat. These are the leading indicators that investors should be looking at. Now, when these three things are true, people don't just show up, they lean in, they put in that extra effort, and that business becomes very hard to stop. You always find those people that no matter what you do, that leader comes into the organization, they somehow end up turning things around, they're executing these three things. Now, here's what's happening in a lot of organizations right now. Hiring decisions and training investments, these are two different disciplines. They're compensating for each other. What we do is we hire people who aren't fully, the right fit for the role. Then we try and train our way out of it. We're overcompensating for training because we didn't get the selection right. Or we rush the hiring because we don't have the ability to develop or train or the capacity to train properly. And both of these are sort of overcompensate for the other. But it's a complete drag. Both burn time, it frustrates everybody on the team, and it impacts your revenue in the business. Now, I'll tell you what actually works is getting these two decisions, your training and your hiring selection, to work together so you have clear selection up front and a focused development after. That's when these leaders stop chasing the performance and start compounding it, right? They get into the organization, you've got the right people, the right success factors, the right competencies, and they're onboarded, and their roadmap and the ramp up to productivity is faster and better than ever. now you have compounding results, exponential growth. Look, I'm chairman of the Multifamily Innovation Council, and I've been in more than 200 plus meetings with leaders road mapping their challenges and their priorities and the initiatives that end up stalling out. What happens in those environments? And this is a diverse group. Typically, I'm meeting with 22 people all at these in these roundtable meetings all at the same time. This gives me a different company perspective, different roles, but the same pattern exists. When leaders get people decisions right, momentum follows. When they don't, everything else slows down. Now, smart investors are starting to pay attention to this. They're asking different questions, right? And this question is, which organizations are actually good at selecting and hiring the right people, and then ultimately leading them effectively and getting those teams to show up and win for that customer? Because ultimately, that's the leading indicator that drives the yield. And that's what actually you have control over. Leadership is the advantage, and you have control over that. Look, if you're trying to fix a hiring problem once and for all, then reach out to me. I'm spending time with a small number of companies, and we're comparing notes. We're pressure testing some hiring decisions, and we're getting the selection and the execution to work together the right way. Now, if that's where you are, I generally would love to have that conversation with you. And one more thing before we leave. The agenda that's taking shape for the annual Multifamily Innovation Summit is not something you will want to miss. It's focused on real leverage, actually right now in your business, for your business objectives, your investment operations, technology, AI, and the leadership advantage required to make all of this stick and get those results, regardless of the size of the organization. If you can walk into any organization, regardless of size, and make an impact, it's because you've assembled these three things together. This isn't about tools or a trade show or things that you can learn everywhere else. It's about increasing the success rate of the initiatives that you already care about. Now, if you're responsible for driving that progress or accountable for it, and you want better outcomes for your reasons right now, then that's what this summit is built for. I hope to see you there.